Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's Business Spotlight. I'm your host, Todd Rodden. I own Aspire Action Coach based here in Southwest Ohio. We're thrilled to have you join us as we continue our series here on the Business Spotlight. If you're new to the series, welcome. Thrilled to have you, and we encourage you to hit subscribe so you can receive future messages like you're going to receive today, really from a very strong, proven entrepreneur, Matt Strippelhoff. He's the CEO and partner with Red Hawk Technologies. They're a leading software development consultancy firm here in the region. He's going to tell you more about that journey as we go forward today. So, without further ado, Matt Strippelhoff, Red Hawk, welcome to the series. If you mind, take a second, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit more about the business, and how did you get started in technology leadership?
Todd, thanks, man. Appreciate the interview. Glad to be here. I hope your listeners get a lot out of this. It's my entrepreneurial journey is probably not all that atypical. A lot of the same challenges that entrepreneurs face along the way. I've just been at it for over 25 years. So Red Hawk's actually been in business since 2008, so about 17 years in, and it's been quite the ride. My involvement with technology started early. The Art Academy of Cincinnati, where I actually have a BFA from. My background in education-wise was in graphic design and illustration. I was going to be the next Norman Rockwell, although I'm never that talented. I just let make that clear. Never that good of an illustrator, but it was a passion of mine when I was growing up. But I also didn't want to be a starving artist, as it were. So I focused on the commercial side of art, and the Art Academy was the first four-year accredited college in this entire region, before UC, before Northern Kentucky University, before Xavier, before any of the big universities, uh, to have a computer lab when I was there. This is early 90s, and it was a Macintosh computer lab.
Oh, yeah.
So it was really cool. So that was my part-time gig. So I was into technology super early, working in the computer lab there for the school, and fast forward when the internet was really just starting to take off and everyone started investing in building their first websites. I started designing and programming websites before there were tools that made it easy. So we were using browsers like Netscape Navigator. Only the guys with and gals with some gray will remember Netscape Navigator. But it had a suite of development tools in it. So you could do the design and you could do some JavaScript and CSS programming. So I started really getting into the tech side of things even more and more by designing these useful experiences online. That transitioned into developing user experiences for software applications in the early 2000s. And then I had this is my third time out of the gate. So I've had three different businesses. And the last business I had, I was providing services to advertising agencies as a technology resource. So when agencies were first being asked to develop websites and applications, I was a vendor for them. And I did quite well for about 3.5 years. And then I merged with my largest customer. They had all the front office skill sets. They had all that stuff figured out, everything I hadn't figured out yet because I was a solopreneur. I had 10 or 12 people working for me at any given point in time, but they were all subcontractors, no full-time hires. And the idea of merging with the company that had all of the back office stuff, HR, payroll, all that stuff figured out was really attractive to me. Ended up being a terrible idea. That partnership did not last. Was in that relationship for about 3.5 years. And then I started Red Hawk Technologies with my now business partner, Ron Dunleavy, who, by the way, was part of my team when I was the solopreneur for so long. And he and I started working together all the way back in 2000. But he's a super talented software engineer. Now he's our chief technology officer. Red Hawk has just around 50 people on the team currently. So we've scaled quite a bit. Proud to say that we made the Inc. 5000 2 years in a row. This three prior years, we had 406% growth. So it's been kind of crazy.
Okay. Just 406.
Just 406. There's a lot of challenges that come with that, my friend. So many challenges, but it's been great.
So, if you could kind of build upon that, kind of talk through like who are your ideal customers with Red Hawk with the services that you provide?
Yeah, we love working with privately owned mid-market businesses, public traded entities as well. But for the most part, We work really, really well with fast-growing, privately owned mid-market clients that are really interested in leveraging technology to grow their business. So we do a lot of workflow automation applications. So if you're living in dying by your spreadsheets, we can solve that problem. We can create workflow automation solutions that give people back valuable time, reduce errors and omissions that can happen when you're doing everything manually. So a lot of our applications are workflow based, but we also develop a lot of mobile applications as well. So the closer our clients get to their end customer, the more likely it is that they need a custom software solution that really exploits their differentiator, what makes them special. So, yeah, we develop custom web and mobile applications for those types of clients. On the enterprise side of things, it's a little different. So we have a lot of competitors in the market space, or sort of competitors. They are more like staff augmentation software consultancies. They'll build software teams and lease those teams to you. You're paying for every minute that butts in a seat, whether they're generating code or not.
Yeah.
Works well in the enterprise space when you have delivery operations practices and software development practices and leads in-house that are full-time employees that can manage those subcontractors and get value from them. It does not work well if you don't have that expertise in-house. You almost never want to go to staff aug. It's just not a good model for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
So,
mentioned there, especially for the mid-market around, understanding, getting closer to the customer and that,
mhm.
and what makes them special and unique. So what is it that makes Red Hawk special and unique?
We are the only software consultancy in the market, not just in the United States or even regionally, but beyond, based on our research, at least up to this point, that has a development as a service model. So it works like a managed service provider. So you think about whoever's providing your managed services to manage your printers, your hardware, your networks, end user desk support. That's managed services. We're doing that for software. So we develop, support, and maintain custom web and mobile applications and data warehouses and things like that, all for a fixed monthly fee schedule. And it's delivered through a fractional team of experts, but we're bringing in the right level of expertise at the right time. We're just responsible for that asset.
Okay.
So that is actually a big reason why we had so much growth is that that is our unique differentiator and works extremely well for those mid-market clients because now they have the two things they really need to innovate: operational stability
Yeah.
and financial stability because it's a fixed monthly fee schedule. They know exactly what the outlay is. They can treat it largely as operating expense. We've got a team of fractional experts that are in and out of the project as needed to build, support, and maintain it. So they can truly innovate now.
Yeah. It's a great model. Allow them to flexibly add the things they need to scale their business, but without having to take all of that on
Oh
themselves.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, if they try to build their own software engineering team like what we deliver to them, they would spend north of a $500,000 or more a year just in salary and benefits.
Yeah.
So this is a fraction of the cost, and we can build meaningful applications that really help them unlock growth.
All right. And you have to live with what the software you develop as well, right? So it gives even greater ownership in the development process.
Hey, listen, the better quality we produce, the easier it is to support and maintain. So it's a win-win. That's for sure.
So, so you
Yeah.
mentioned the meteoric growth that you have going on. What have been keys to that growth? Is there a marketing strategy or certain growth channels that have really sparked that growth?
It's still almost all referral based, and this is a challenge that we have in this industry. It's not just limited to Red Hawk, but so one of my peer groups, and I have two peer groups I meet with monthly. One of them is just owners of software consultancies. We're in non-competitive markets, so we all do the same type of thing, but we don't compete in the same geographic markets. We're constantly having this conversation. Finding talented sales folks that can sell software consulting services is truly a challenge. But this is a highly consultative space. And what I found is that founder-led sales, it's a term I'm sure you're familiar with, Todd.
Mm.
It's a hard challenge to overcome. But most of our success from a sales and marketing perspective come from me uh, at speaking events, networking. I've been doing this for over 25 years. This is a small market. So, but the majority of our business is referral based. Not all of it, but the majority of it is referral based.
So I'm curious, do you have a process on how you kind of spark and generate more of those referrals? Or is it just you being out there, kind of being a thought leader, being very present in the marketplace?
It's mostly the latter. It's mostly me being present, participating in podcasts like this. Again, thank you for having me on as a guest, uh, and taking advantage of opportunities to meet and greet people. But truly, the real, I feel like, magic here is when I'm fortunate enough to get an introduction or have a conversation with someone or build value through network and through channel relationships. I've learned that I just focus on value creation. So even if this isn't going to lead to an opportunity for me, I want to deliver some value to the individual I'm having a conversation with so that there's some lasting impact because this is a relationship business. And if I can help you in some way, whether it leads to a transaction or not, then that's a win. That's a win for me. It's a win for you. It's a win for everybody. So I try to just, that's the way that I operate every day in every one of my relationships. I'm just always trying to bring value into that conversation. It's non-transactional, I guess is what I'm driving at. And I think for a lot of sales professionals, especially if you're selling widgets or insurance or cars or what have you, you're trained to be very transactional. It's all about talk tracks. What are the objections? How do you handle those objections? And how do you get to the next meeting? It's all very transactional based. This is not a transactional based industry. We're developing some meaningful solutions. There's some risk involved in making those investments. They're not small investments. So you need to work with people that you trust.
Exactly.
You need to absolutely believe that they have your best interest in mind. And that's the way that we operate here at Red Hawk, and it's the way that I've always operated and managed my relationships. So I think that's important to note, but it's also a real challenge to overcome, right? How do I build a whole sales team that does that? I don't know the answer to that.
That's what you got to figure out. But
Yeah,
spot on. Hey, relationships at the end of the day are based on trust. So your ability to create and add value ahead of that's what helps kind of build and strengthen those. Especially the services you provide. You're going to come in and take over a big part of their business, a very important part of their business and growth strategies, right? So they've got to have trust. Right?
they've got to, yeah. And you can see this show up on like if you were to go out to our website under our resources page, there are downloads that are available. Those downloads are specifically designed to help people vet their ideas to decide whether they should make an investment or not make an investment. Like that's very out there. That's tip of the spear. It's just there for people to take advantage
Mhm.
of. Um, because it's not transactional for us, we really don't want to be involved in executing something that we may it doesn't pass a sniff test, right? If they can't articulate what value it's going to generate for the business, then we would be doing them a disservice to try and sell them software engineering services to create it just because they think it's a good idea. So you can kind of see this culture come through just in the way that we promote our services and some of the tools we make available for free. And I don't know, I'm kind of proud of that, but I don't know how else to answer your question, Todd, around sales and marketing, but it's a challenge in the business nonetheless.
Okay. Well, speaking of challenges, so as you look back 17 years now with Red Hawk, and you mentioned, hey,
Yeah,
this is your third business that you've started. I'm curious, what's
yeah.
been a past challenge that you and the team had that you overcame, and what did you learn from that?
In 2017, in January of that year, in the first couple of weeks of January, I got three phone calls. Client number one, number two, and number three are three largest accounts. The first phone call went something like this. Hey, Matt, you know how this goes. When there's mergers and acquisition activity, nobody knows until the deal is done. And that gentleman was calling to tell me that the deal was done. They were acquired. So
Mhm.
that was Advanced Pure Foods Company here in Greater Cincinnati region. We've been doing business with them for about 8 years at that point in time, or close to it. And we expected just under 1 million in revenue to come in from that account in 2017. Yeah. And it all evaporated overnight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were acquired by Tyson, I think, for 3.2 billion. Good for them.
Yeah.
Good for them. Private equity owned. So if you know, for any listeners out there who know anything about private equity firms, it's all about getting a return on their investment within 3 to 5 years, roughly. So we knew there was a timeline when they bought Advanced PR Foods Company. We just didn't know how to sell our way out of it fast enough or get ahead of it. And so the second phone call went something like this. Hey, Matt, you know how mergers and acquisitions go. It was the same conversation. It was client number two in terms of revenue for us and the same outcome. The investment that they were making with us dropped to a trickle. And then I got the third phone call. And I will tell you, never in my life had I experienced panic attacks until, the weeks that followed those three phone calls. We went from a team of about 16 engineers. We had to lay off half of the staff, and you wonder what that's going to do to culture and how that's going to impact people. Oh my gosh, driving to work and thinking about having those conversations, I still feel it.
Yeah.
And that was 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 8 years ago. Uh, the one thing I'm really proud of is that my partner and I, we made phone calls. We reached out to people that we knew, that competitors, and we let them know we were letting some very talented people go. Everybody had a place and a job offer within a couple of weeks of us laying people off. So I'm really proud of that. So we did right by the people, but that was a massive challenge for us. The company was cut in half, the revenue was nearly cut in half. And in 2018, it was all about stabilizing things in the business. And I will tell you that I think people talk about innovation, necessity is a mother of invention, sayings like that. I think you have to go through some pain and suffering to truly innovate sometimes. So we were operating as a project-based time and materials company all the way up until that point in time. And then we were reflecting back as the company became stable again. We were trying to find ways to grow. We took a really long, hard look at the customers we served best. We identified where the friction occurs in software engineering, project-based work. How do we eliminate that friction for those customers? And that's how we came up with our unique business model. And we sold our first contract of that type in the early spring of 2019. So 2018 was all about getting everything stable, starting to grow, and some innovation on our own. 2019, we successfully sold some of our first software development as a managed service contracts. And by the way, that contract is still in place today.
Congrats. Yeah.
We have an extremely high customer retention rate, north of 95%, because of the way that we operate and service these accounts. Now we have over 100 customers, and most of those customers have 2 to 3 custom business applications that either they developed and now we're responsible for, or we created and we're also supporting and maintaining. So um, I'm grateful for that very challenging time looking back on it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it takes a lot of grit sometimes to get through these things.
Yeah. Yeah. Outstanding example. Thank you for sharing that. Just around, hey, that tough news really forced you to step back and think differently about the business and see the
Yeah.
next future opportunities and to make those changes. That often, if you hadn't had that storm, you might just continue doing what you were doing, right? So, yeah.
I think so, 100%. I don't think we would have had the motivation to change. If what was working, we would have probably kept doing it.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
So hopefully not as stormy now as you look forward. What's a challenge you have in front of you that you and the team are trying to solve for?
AI.
I've heard a
Art,
little bit about that, right? There's something
just a
going on
little
there, right?
little snippets of information out there. You're probably seeing a lot of hype out there where, about vibe coding, and you don't need engineers anymore. You can use this Lovable product, use Replit, and all these tools are out here. Vibe code an application and launch it in a day or two. And then you see some crazy videos where a teenager vibe codes their own version of Spotify and they swear it works. But that's really our challenge is educating the market and helping you understand what you can and cannot realistically do with these tools. But it's one that we've embraced very cautiously, and I'm actually pretty excited about it. I'm pretty excited about what AI is doing for us in this industry. Um, we are publishing information about it on a regular basis. Our third issue of our newsletter, which is published monthly through LinkedIn, we've been sharing our journey about adopting AI tools in the software development lifecycle and what the impact's been. We can do things now in weeks that used to take months.
Outstanding. Yeah.
It's fantastic, especially, our customers now. The number one reason for not winning a deal historically for our business and our industry, I think this is true, is it proved to be too cost prohibitive, not enough return on that investment.
Yeah.
You know, so our one of the things we educate our prospects and customers about is if you're going to invest in a custom web or mobile application, it's got to be solving a meaningful and expensive problem. If you can't check both of those boxes, it's probably not worth investing in. But the number one reason that we would lose business was not to competition. It was the price and selling against status quo.
Yeah.
Suddenly living in spreadsheet world isn't the end of the world when you compare it to the cost of getting rid of those spreadsheets, even though there's a lot of value that would come out of it doing so. Well, now the bar has been lowered in terms of the investment required to create solutions. So there's a lot of speak in the industry now about disposable applications, solutions that maybe you only need around for 6 months or a year. Uh, the rate at which we can create solutions has, I mean, golly, I can think of multiple examples, but I know we have limited time here.
Yeah.
I'll just say that we can generate clickable prototypes and reuse 80% of the code in a matter of weeks for fairly complicated web and mobile apps. It's amazing, but it's a challenge.
It's a challenge. It's a challenge. Yeah, and I've seen some great messages on your LinkedIn pages around that. So folks, I encourage folks to check that out to see some of the education and insights that you're sharing in the community already. So,
Great, thank you.
so as you mentioned your growth in your team. I think close to 50 employees now. So, what have been your keys to building that team in terms of attracting the right talent into the organization and retain it? You're in a very highly competitive space for talent. So,
We are Culture is key. Culture is king. So the retention side, we have employees that have been with us for over 10 years. I actually have one employee that has been with us almost 17 years. A couple are kind of falling into that track. And we're really proud of the ability to retain such great talent, but it's all about culture when it comes to retention. No big surprise there, I don't think. But as far as attracting talent, it used to be a lot more difficult than it is now. Then brings me back to AI because I think a lot of developers are losing their jobs. Like
okay.
we're hiring now currently for a couple of key positions. We've had people that were formerly employed by Google and Amazon and some of these major players apply to work for our very modest sized, relatively small business
Mhm.
right here in the Greater Cincinnati region. And it's like, wow, what's going on? So I think having a really good reputation, doing the good work that we're doing for the clients we serve, we get to do a lot of really innovative things. So I think that helps us attract a lot of talent. Some of the jobs that are available to engineers today, if you look at the really big companies that have software engineering teams in-house, an engineer might only be working on one or two business applications the whole time they're at that company for years and years
Yeah.
and years. And if they come to work for Red Hawk, they're probably working on two or three different initiatives for two or three different customers when we're doing new builds. And then those builds are done, and now there's some maintenance and support activity happening around some of that. But now they're building something new for another customer. So it's exciting work.
All right. Is there anything else unique about your culture? You talked about, hey, what's unique about the services you provide? And, hey, culture is king. Is there anything else you think you're doing? The variety of work, I think, is obviously a separator. But anything else that you say, hey, this is what we really do to keep the team engaged?
Well, we are an EOS company, right? So we adopted the entrepreneur's operating system. We have a lot of clarity around what is expected of people. And I'll quote Brene Brown, who's one of my favorite leaders out there and thought leaders. I saw her speak at an event in Austin, Texas, and it just blew me away. And something that really stuck is she said, unspoken expectations are resentments waiting to happen. And there's a lot to unpack in that one.
That's the quote right there. Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack there. But what it translated to for me pretty quickly is that, okay, most friction in relationships come from people not having clarity on what they expect of one another. So I think that's a really important, highly nuanced thing that you have to get right in a great culture is clarity around what I expect of the people that report to me and what they expect of me.
Mhm.
And if we have clarity in those areas, people are generally good. Human beings are good. Most of the friction or disagreements or challenges come from a lack of understanding around those expectations. So I think that's a key to our culture is just people are always striving and driving toward transparent communication and collaboration. And one thing that we do is we encourage people to give each other shout outs. And we record those shout outs. And so part of our level 10 meeting, leadership level 10 meeting, we review the shout outs from the prior week. And every shout out has to be connected to one of our core values.
Okay. That
This person
reinforces.
demonstrated collaboration or transparency or empathy, creativity by doing X, Y, and Z. And so there's the nominator, this person who gets to shout out what they did specifically and what core value it connected to. And to give you an idea how we leverage that, first of all, it's just good to be in a routine of demonstrating appreciation and gratitude. That
Yeah.
helps culture. At our holiday party last year was the first year that we actually uh, kind of awarded people this way is we looked at all of those five core values. We sorted that list of all the nominees, and then whoever got nominated the most times for any one of those five, they got a really nice gift card.
Okay.
Things like simple things like
Yeah.
that can go a long way in a business.
Yeah. Just continually reinforcing the values and never been part of an organization where people said, you know what, we just celebrate too much. We
Yeah.
recognize too much. Right?
Yeah.
So wait for that to happen. So, all right. So as we get close to wrapping up here, Matt, what have been your keys to success? Whereas now, as you look back, you wish you knew then that you know now.
I should have invested in developing my own skills as a leader a whole lot sooner than I did. I think that's led to a lot of unlocking a lot of value in the business. Is that we have to recognize that we're con we're continuing to grow or should be as leaders, and we have to own the responsibility of I mean the buck stops here, man.
Mhm.
So if I'm not investing in developing my skills continually to try and bring value to the people that I serve in this business, I'm not doing what I need to be doing. So I, I was a member of Entrepreneurs Organization for 10 years, but I've been in business for almost 18. I wish I would have joined an organization or a peer group or had a coach at the very beginning of this journey because experience shares, you can learn from other people's experiences.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. Learn
You
from their
know,
scars. All right.
that's right, man. I should have learned from their scars.
Don't touch that stove.
That's right. That's right.
So Matt, as we thank you, great insights. As we wrap up here, what are the best ways for folks to learn more about Red Hawk, to stay connected with the organization or with yourself?
Yeah, check us out at redhawk-tech.com. That's our website. And I mentioned some of the resources that are available on the resources page to download if you're thinking about checking out some or exploring some ideas. You can also find me on LinkedIn. Just reach out to connect. Happy to be a connection to any of your listeners. and maybe check out and subscribe to our newsletter on
Newsletters.
LinkedIn. Yeah, it's going extremely well. We're sharing a lot of really good insights, especially around AI and software engineering and for business leaders. Yeah, definitely check it out.
All right. Yep. And all that information will be in the show notes here for folks, for viewers here to check out here later. So Matt Strippelhoff, as we wrap up, what are you inspired by today?
Oh man, I'm inspired by the young generation of leaders that are up and coming. I know a lot of great leaders in this space, and it's great to see young entrepreneurs making the move. And it seems like there's a lot of great education out there for entrepreneurs as well that maybe wasn't available when I was starting out. So
Okay.
I get excited about that whole ecosystem.
Okay. Love it. No, great. Then sounds like you're contributing to it too, as well. So thank you for that.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right. Well, Matt, thank you for joining us today, sharing your many lessons learned, the journey with Red Hawk. Encourage folks to follow up, as we said, check out the website and learn more and stay connected with the organization.
Great. Thanks so much, Todd.
Yeah. And to our viewers, thank you again for joining us. I hope you took great notes. And again, if you haven't already, we encourage you to hit subscribe so you can receive future messages. And of course, we appreciate it when you hit the like button. That helps us get the message shared even more broadly as well. And with that, thank you all and have a terrific day.